But first, because they're not going away soon enough, the headlines breaking in the administration's 50 running scandals. Boosh. Number 3, Bailout-Gate. It's very nice that the president has accepted the president-elect's request that he asked Congress to free up the second half of the bailout money for the banks. But this time there's going to be a catch. Senator Dodd, chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, says today, in effect, you can get 3 presidents in on this if you want to, or 30, but you're not seeing a dime of that back, $350 billion, unless there are limits on bonuses and compensation given to company executives, and unless there are oversight provisions, and unless there are limits on mergers and acquisitions, and unless at least some of the money is spent to save the homeowners getting screwed into the ground by their mortgages. Like we keep saying, today we call this the bailout. Tomorrow we will be calling it Why Daddy Went to Prison. Number 2, rewriting History-Gate. Here goes that vice president again. Interview with the Associated Press. Mr. Cheney says that the financial mess, quote, I don't think anybody saw it coming, and compared it to other highlights of the administration. I wouldn't have predicted 9/11, the global war on terror, the need to simultaneously run military operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. Skip the obvious stuff about 9/11 and the project for the new American century for a moment. Just given the fact that Mr. Cheney was advocating war in Iraq for a decade before 9/11, on that score alone, he's just a big flaming pile of bullcrap here. Happily, the Associated Press reporter managed to school the vice president on the minor issue of civics, of the economic meltdown. Cheney then asked her rhetorically, I'm sure he thought, did you see it coming? Deb Reichman's perfect pitch response, I wasn't responsible for seeing it coming. And number 1, repainting History-Gate. The Smithsonian has hung its portrait of the president. The caption beneath reads in part that Mr. Bush's term featured, quote, the attacks on September 11, 2001 that led to wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. This is, of course, the logical fallacy in action, to say nothing of the Bush fallacy, and it's in the official museum of this nation. So Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont called BS. He wrote to the director of the National Portrait Gallery in part, quote, the notion that 9/11 and Iraq were linked or that one led to the other has been widely and authoritatively debunked. Tonight, Director Martin Sullivan has agreed with the senator. His reply, our intention was to remind viewers of the portrait that the listed events were defining moments in the Bush presidency within the limited space of an object label. I appreciate your concern, however, about the words led to. We will revise the label and delete the words led to. Well done, Mr. Sullivan. Well done, Senator Sanders. There is still, however, a dubious assumption, not one that we can probably correct, that President Bush's supporters who might come to see his portrait now or in the future know how to read.